What's going on, everybody? And we are now live for Texas Encounters and Mysterious Sightings. I am your host, Lieutenant, and I got a very special treat for y'all today. We're going to have two guests on at the same time. The first guest is our very own and our administrator, dude from Texas. And the second guest joining in at the same time is going to be from Recalling the Encounters, Lee. So everybody sit back, grab your popcorn, buckle your safety belts, cause it's gonna be a good show. Lee, Dave, y'all there?
Yeah, we're here.
All right, all right. So before we get started, Lee, I'd like for you to go ahead and give us a little info about your show. I know y'all got a good one out there, and
Okay.
just give everybody a little info because we're gonna go ahead and put y'all out there too as well, man. We're gonna show
I,
love to everybody.
I appreciate it. The show that we've got is called Recalling the Encounters, and it was with host D and Lee, but D has since quit the show because we had an interview caller that was talking about some demonic stuff happening, and while we were doing the show, D claims that she got attacked, and she'd had a bunch of she almost felt like she was getting crushed inside. She had to get up and leave. And once she got away from everything, then she was okay. But I talked
Wow.
to some people, and a guy contacted me. You guys know who he is, Al Santoriga, Alfred Santoriga.
Yes, yes.
He contacted us, and he told us that all that bad, negative, like demonic stuff can attach itself to your electronic equipment, and that you should what you should do is cleanse your equipment, like smudge it and do things like that before you start the show. Well, she smudged everything. She smudged all her equipment, but one thing she failed to do was open a door or window. So basically, she just made it mad, whatever it was.
Wow.
So anyway, she said she didn't want nothing to do with messing with that no more, and so she's out. But I'm continuing on. I've been working lately, and I haven't got to put anything up on the show. But as soon as I get things back together, I'm gonna hit it again. I've
Awesome.
got another lady that's going to come on with me. Her name is Darlene, and she's a clairvoyant, and she knows a lot about this stuff. She actually was here at the house and the other night, and I had found an arrowhead a long time ago along the river, and it was I didn't even think about it at the time. We were metal detecting, and I found it, and it was by a mound, and I picked it up and brought it home. Well, years went by. I had a Native American I met at a powwow that we went to. I went to hand it to him, and he says, "Well, why did you hand that to me?" And he said, "That's got some bad energy on it." And so he smudged that thing with an Indian feather, or an eagle feather, and it squealed, and it let out I heard it. I heard the noise that it made. And anyway, she came the other night, and she said that Indian is here on our land, and he wants that arrowhead back. So I'm going to have to take that arrowhead back. And but we were back behind the house. We had the light on the house, and we went down over a ravine, and there was an edge where it was dark, and then there was like light casting a shadow on the ridge across from us. And we were standing there, and she gets pushed almost off the bridge that we were standing on, a little bridge across the creek. And as we both turned to look, it looked like the shadow of an Indian running across the bank on the other side. Just his head popped up out of the shadow and then run across in front of us, like to let us know that he was here. And I actually witnessed that. But we didn't actually get any pictures of it, but we both saw it.
Right. Nice.
But
That yeah. That them Native Americans, man, they are sacred, man. Very very
uh,
sacred. You
oh
know,
yeah,
they say if you want to make peace with them, I've heard tobacco. Make some kind of offering.
oh yeah.
It's
Well,
wild,
this
wild.
one's getting tobacco, and he's getting a feather, and I'm actually going to play my Native American flute for him and tell him I'm sorry. So,
Wow. All right.
but actually, go
Go,
ahead,
go
guys.
ahead, Lee. Go ahead.
Actually, I think that this Indian thing, I think he's followed me for a long time, and because I've had out of body experience where I've seen him, and he tried to offer me a feather once before, and she told me he ain't offered me that feather because he's trying to trade. He's trying to trade me for that arrow head point. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. Sorry, guys, to keep talking there.
Oh, you're good.
All right, go. All right, Dave. Give everybody a little info about yourself and what got you into, cryptids, paranormal, everything that you're into with us, especially.
Well, myself, I just got into it, just looking at certain books at the library, stuff like that. But I never heard of Dogman until recently, but always into Bigfoot, um, paranormal, UFOs, stuff like that. Always. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Just always drawn to it. Um, my name's David. I'm dude from Texas. It's great to be here. It's great to have Leon.
I'm grateful to be here with you guys.
And I was out. You were talking about smudging the electronics, Lee. It made me think of something because actually last night something bizarre happened in our home, and I even told Lieutenant about it. Uh, my fan kept coming on and turning off by itself.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I noticed it a few days ago, and I didn't think nothing of it. But it honestly terrified my wife, and the reason it does is because her mom's ashes are in here right now. So but I don't get a vibe of like it's something bad. I honestly think it's like her way of showing us that she's there, and because nothing. She made me throw that fan away.
Did you actually see the knob on the fan turning back and forth?
No, she didn't see the knob. She just said she was in there by herself, could hear it come on and then hear it go off, and hear it come on and hear it go off, and that's the same thing that happened to me too. I would go and check it, and when I check it, everything's fine. It wouldn't do it again.
That's
it would only
crazy.
do it. It would only do it when you're not like paying attention to it.
I'll tell you something about fans that I've noticed at night, like when you're trying to sleep or whatever. So sometimes in our bedroom, I notice that you know how like you get in tune with the sound of the fan running, and then when somebody walks in front of the fan, it makes a different noise. It like almost cancels out a little bit of the noise. Well, there's times at night when me and my wife's in bed, and I can hear that fan like something's canceling the sound out, like something's walking back and forth in front of it.
Oh wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I've actually had that happen. I've actually had that happen. I actually heard a fan in the childhood home I grew up in that was really haunted. I had a fan that would sit on kind of on the ground pointing up, and one night you could hear it like it was making that steady noise, and then it just started like it was how would you call it? Maybe hesitating, it woo woo, and right when that happened, man, I could hear like whispering in the room, and I was the only one in there, so you can imagine how creepy that was. Yeah.
That's awesome. There's something that if these entities or these spirits or whatever, if they're part of the air, why not be able to manipulate things like that? Sound,
right.
Electronics, it's drawing energy off of it.
Yep.
They can be drawing power from it.
Lee, that's a good point. I was telling Lisa actually the other day. My uncle's house, he heard whispers, and in their bedroom, the back wall behind the bed was all rocks. And they said when they would lay down, they would hear it was sounded like people talking, but in whispering. You could never make out what they were saying. Just like,
yeah.
Only when they lay down, and I thought that was so creepy. And they actually ended up selling the house.
Wow.
Made me think of that when you said they get attached to objects. Oh yeah, they definitely do.
Was it an older house? This house that you were in?
It was in an older house in Tennessee.
In Tennessee, my aunt and uncle had a house, and I stayed with them when I would go to when I went to college, and because the college was down here where they lived at. But anyway, I was going to church at the time, and they said you should conceal yourself in a room when you pray or whatever. So I would go in the bathroom at night, and I would say my prayers before I go to bed. And every time when I would do that, I would hear that whispering that you're talking about. and I could never make it out, and it sounded like a man and a woman talking.
Yeah, you can never make it out, but you know it's there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know Dave gave you a call today, and I know we were going to try and do it last live stream. Unfortunately, Dave went out to West Texas to a friend's house, and his service was real sketchy, so we saved it for this stream. And we were going to talk about possibly some reptilian stuff. What are y'all's insights on that?
Well, I sent Dave a link to a show that called The Confessionals that Tony Merkel put on. I don't know if you know who the Tony Merkel and The Confessionals is.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
I'm about a quarter of a way through it. I haven't seen the whole thing yet.
I had some insight on what he was talking about on that show. He talked about this boy seeing a hole or whatever in the bank, and he went to go in there, and there was first time he went in, there was a head in there, a decapitated head that looked like what we would think of as the classic gray alien.
Oh, wow.
And so the second time he goes in there, he gets brave enough and he goes back in. There's a reptilian in there waiting on him, and the reptilian won't let him go any further, and he can see that there's these other tunnels in there and a light source. And the light source, the one tunnel that has the light source, he could see a statue of a big reptilian. He said this reptilian was like 10 foot tall or whatever, I believe is what he said.
Good night.
And he starts having a conversation with this boy, and he starts telling him, now this is going to freak people out. And it freaked me out because it ties into everything that's going on right now. If you follow the adrenochrome and the all of the stuff they talk about underground, he said this reptilian told him that there was a war going on underground, and it was a war between these reptilians and these things that look like witches. And the boy even described what the witches look like and said these witches look like the classic witches that you've seen with the turned down nose. Their skin's green, and they have they're wearing a black robe or a black outfit. And one tried to attack this boy, like the war between the reptilians and the witches, these witch-like things, was because the witches would come up to the surface and capture children and people and take them underground and use them as slaves and trade them. And they said they would trade them for slaves, and they would actually even consume them or eat them. And I got to thinking about that, and the reptilians, like, they're known for being warriors. I've heard that the reptilian species, and if you don't show fear, then they respect that. And I think because that little boy didn't show fear, that's why the reptilian kind of befriended him. The reptilian claimed that they had traded gold to try to get some of these children back out at the surface to get, buy their freedom and get them to the surface. But one of the weird things about this story was it clicked with me back when I was younger and living with my aunt and uncle at the same place. My uncle had a car for sale or something, and these people came to buy this car, and they had two little kids with them, and the little girl was probably, I don't know, she might have been 8 or 9, and then the boy was like maybe 11, 12 years old, I'm guessing. And I catch a conversation between this little boy and this little girl about them seeing a witch. And I asked them, what did the witch look like? And they described this witch as having the green skin with the turned down nose, the black robe, and the whole 9 yards. And these kids are going back and forth, like they're scared, like telling this story about, did you see that? And the other one, the boy saying, yeah, I saw it. And he said, I can't believe it. That was a witch. And
wow.
So when I asked him about it, I said, well, what was this witch doing? And both of them turned around and said she was digging in a coal mound. They had dumped coal by this coal, like this pit where there was coal, a coal mine. They make these big mounds of coal out there, and then they come and they load them up in the trucks. And they said she was frantically digging through this coal like she had lost something. And so I got to thinking about that story that this guy, when I was listening to it, I thought, well, that makes total sense that this witch is looking for something in this coal because coal comes from underground.
Right.
And that just lended more credence to the story, I thought, anyway. So I thought you guys would find that interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah,
Yes.
that sounds like almost your typical textbook description of a witch from like Halloween. I mean, like
Yes.
what you would see at Halloween.
Hmm.
Wow, wow, that's very interesting. Very
And
very interesting.
I'm not so sure that I haven't actually dreamed of one of those witches. And I actually saw it, and it was exactly like they describe it. And these witches are they're like a trickster spirit. And what this witch was doing in the dream was there was like this pillar, like in the middle of the room, it was almost like I don't know, like a cement or a stone pillar. And she would walk around this pillar in a circle. And every time she would walk around the pillar in a circle, she would come around and she would look like a different woman, like a beautiful woman. Like she came around once, she looked like a redhead. The second time she come around, she looked like a blonde. And the third time she came around, she looked like, had the dark hair. But and that's all I remember of that dream. But that's like a temptation type thing. Them trying to tempt you into different things, like
Right.
come follow me or whatever type of thing. So, all right, guys. So where else you want to go with this? I'm sorry, I keep rambling.
Nah, we keep going, keep going. I know y'all just said something about the I know I'm gonna mispronounce this adrenochrome. Did I say that
Yeah,
right?
and we probably ought to be careful talking about that because I
Yeah.
don't want your guys' channel to get shut down. If that makes sense.
Okay.
You guys,
Yeah.
a lot of people's getting shut down because of that.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if that's the number one drug of choice out for the famous people, then that totally makes sense that they're going to spend a lot of money to protect that,
Absolutely.
Red flag.
which is
Absolutely.
horrible.
So
It's a horrible thing.
I know there's been some pictures that had came out. I want to say maybe a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, maybe. I don't know if y'all remember the lizard man the picture of a lizard man that ended up showing up on I think it was Google. It ended up in the Google News actually, and it looked like a big lizard walking down a wood line that somebody apparently took a picture of. What is y'all's opinion on that?
Was it out in the desert? The picture of this thing out in the desert? Because I think I saw a picture of that.
The one I had seen come from, I believe it was from the Carolinas. I can't remember if it was north or south, but I think someone was driving down in one of the Carolinas, and
Out of like a swampy area.
swampy area. Yeah, yeah.
Does it kind of look like the reptilian thing that was on Star Trek a long time ago? I don't know if you guys remember that or not. There was an episode where Captain Kirk's fighting a reptilian, and it looks like the one that I saw looked like that. But I don't know if that's the one. If it's not, I would sure like to see it.
Lee, it's ironic. I've heard Star Trek Reptilian is what they actually look like.
Yeah, yes.
Wow. Yeah, the one I had seen on Google, man, I mean, it's kind of hard to give it credit because I mean it looks so manufactured, It kind of looked like a dinosaur almost, but it's hard for me to believe that thing would be that bold walking out on a tree line and someone got this huge big nice clear picture of this lizard man. I don't know. I find that really hard to believe, but I mean I'm on the fence about it because there's no way to really discredit it or there's really no way to prove it. It's just a picture.
I'm with you, Lieutenant. If it's a picture that I saw of what you're describing, I'm on the fence about it too because the way things are now with the Photoshop and all of that,
Right.
we really have to be careful.
Yes.
But if that was real, that was some amazing stuff. Do you guys know about the Flatwoods monster from West Virginia?
The
I believe
Flatwoods.
so.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
The Flatwoods monster. if you look, you guys can all look some stuff up about it. I've been to the Mothman Museum in West Virginia, and the next stop I think we're going to try is the Flatwoods Museum. There's a Flatwoods Museum there, but these kids were out playing there in West Virginia, and this fireball comes shooting across the sky, and it goes over the hill by their house, and this light starts emanating up from above them on a ridge top over the hill, and so they start to go up there to the top, and they end up, when they get up there, the dog gets up there ahead of them and then comes running back like it doesn't want any part of whatever's up there. So they get up there, and there's this gas coming down, and they start coughing, and when they get up to the top of the hill, they see this thing they drew pictures of the best they could describe this thing, and it looked like a metallic looking creature type thing with arms, and it had it looked like it was basically floating off the ground in some kind of like a jetpack or a suit, like floating around. But there's been other accounts there of a guy and his wife driving down the road, and something stepped out in front of them in the road. Well, actually, it kind of floated out in the road because it was actually in part of a craft too. But from the waist up, it had a reptilian body and reptilian arms, and it reaches over and it touches the hood. And when it touches the hood, it burns through the paint on the hood.
Oh,
and they
wow.
said it had this noxious smell of like sulfur, a sulfuric smell, but it looked like it was riding on some kind of a rocket pack thing that was from the waist down. It was sitting in this thing, I take it, and kind of floating above the ground. And there's been accounts of hunters seeing things like that in the woods, coming like one went by a guy, I guess, while he was in the woods, and that's some pretty interesting stuff about reptilians. But that was in West Virginia. I didn't know if you guys had heard that one.
Southern guy just posted of hearing one from the Carolinas also, so that may be the one I'm talking about that he heard of, and it's just a wild picture. I mean, like I said, it looks manufactured, but I mean, it's really hard to tell. Really hard to tell. So,
do you have that picture, David?
No, but I know which one y'all are talking about. It.
Do you have it, Lieutenant?
I have it on my. I think I have it on my laptop.
Do you?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Well, it looks really believable. It looks really believable. But then I looked at it more, and I was like, I wonder if that's Photoshop.
Yeah,
just because it's so perfect.
Yeah.
Does it kind of look bulky? Like, does it look real strong? Like, to me, if it's the one I saw, it almost looked rubbery looking. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah. Like I said, when you look at it, and it's taken a step, so you can see the bottom of the front foot, and it's
I know that's exactly the one that I saw.
It's three-toed. It has the tail, and it just, man, I don't know if that's a legit picture. Somebody got into some gold, because everybody gets pictures of Bigfoot and of dogmen. Like I did a show with I co-hosted a show with B the other day. Hey B, glad you can make it. But I co-hosted a show with her on Friday, and we had Paul Chafin on, and he was saying that when he goes out with a 4K camera, and that if he gets evidence, it's just like he got a picture of a dog man. It comes out distorted for whatever reason. And
well, that's funny that you say that about the distortion, because the area where I found the little footprint, where I'm pretty sure there's some Bigfoot activity going on.
Mm-hmm.
I made a camera mount for my vehicle so I could drive around at night with a FLIR.
Right.
Forward-looking infrared.
Right.
Like what they have on the helicopters, but not to that degree. But anyway, every time I go down in that area and I get right in line where I found a footprint, my camera will always blur out right in that area. And it doesn't do it anywhere else, but every time that I go down in there, and I can almost guarantee when I get ready to go by that, it's going to do it. And I think it's either there's energy there that they can manipulate, or there's something going on. But the guy with the 4K camera has the same problem? The things blur out on him.
Yeah. He says he says he gets quite a bit of evidence, and he has a lot of issues with what he catches. It blurring out. We're getting like real pixelated and distorted, and he don't know what the problem is. I mean, it's a 4K camera. Everything's gonna be like crystal clear. But he
Right.
says if he gets a picture of any evidence that it just for whatever reason it gets distorted.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. I got to thinking about like the Bigfoot encounters that people have, and sometimes on those Bigfoot encounters, the weather will change, or they'll get there's some kind of a weather manipulation that happens. And if you think about it, if say like a portal opens or closes, something like that you would think would take a lot of energy. And what's the most powerful energy here on the earth besides the sun would be the storms and the storm systems.
Right.
So I think sometimes because the day I found that footprint, I could hear whatever it was, and they're running off, and the weather started changing. The wind started whipping up. I don't know if they created it was almost like the trees were going around, like, kind of like, and
I like that.
I just wonder if maybe they were creating a vortex or something like that. That's and that would be, I would think, because have you guys ever heard the story about the guy that flew from I think it was somewhere in the Bahamas. He was flying back to Miami, and he got caught in a cloud, and he tried to get out of this cloud, and the trip should have took him like, I'm just going to throw it out like an hour and a half, but it ended up only taking him 20 minutes to come.
Oh, wow.
Out, because he got in this tunnel thing, and he said it was spinning around like a vortex, around the plane, and there was lightning flashes going on, and it was like he got in some kind of a time slip or a vortex, and it, shot him. Instead of having missing time, this guy had gain time,
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's kind of like a portal type deal, where the weather is manipulated around it, and because of the energy that it's taken to create it, and it shot him through.
Wow. So so do you think maybe that may have had something to do with, say, like the Bermuda Triangle, how these people go missing and then they show up like years later, or you have a ship go in, it goes down, no one knows where it went, they can't find it.
Well, that could be, and I've actually been to the Bahamas twice, and the first time I went, I got to go with the guy that I went with. He was an older guy, and he'd been a sniper in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, I said, because I was kind of leery about going. I said, what if we get in? We're going to go right in through the Bermuda Triangle. I said, well, what, aren't you worried about that? He said, oh, there's nothing to it, this and that. But then he did open up to me and say, one time he was sitting on like a beach, and he was looking out across the ocean there, and he said he watched this light go from one side of the horizon to the other side of the horizon in seconds.
Wow.
And so he didn't know what that was, but he said whatever that was moving at an extremely fast pace. So he did see something there. But I will enlighten you guys about the Bahamas that I heard literally while I was there. I was in a bar sitting with my buddies, and they I don't drink, so I was just sitting there drinking Coke, and these two guys, Bahamian guys, were at the end of the bar, and I could hear them talking, and the one guy said, I can get you any weapon that you want. And he said, what these people don't, I think he was referring to us, because he said, what these people don't realize down here is that there are still pirates here, and we shoot airplanes down, and we take ships down here. So
wow.
There's still pirates in the area then.
Oh, I
That's
imagine.
That's where some of the missing people are going. Maybe not all of them, but there's a big ocean out there, guys.
Yeah, they say not even, what is it, 1.5% to 2% of it has been, is the most that's been explored. The rest of it's never been explored, and that's just huge. That's huge.
Have you guys heard of the pyramids off the coast of Cuba? There's supposed to be pyramids underwater there.
I have heard of the underwater ones, yes.
Yeah.
They were supposed to do a documentary about that on the National Geographic Channel, and they shut that down.
Really?
They've shut down a few shows. I noticed. I find that strange.
Mm-hmm. They say that if they ever bring that forward and show, I've seen the sonar scan images of it, just doing Google searches and stuff. It was a Russian lady that was commissioned by the Cuban government to go out and try to find Spanish galleons with gold on it. Is why they went out looking, and they found those pyramids. And they said that if that is ever known to the public, that will totally rewrite the history books, because when that would have been above the water, it would have been many, many thousands of years ago. But there are pyramids under there that look like the pyramids in Mexico City.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, you guys can see those images if you look up pyramids underwater off the coast of Cuba,
Mm-hmm.
and do like a DuckDuckGo search, and you'll see the images online from that.
Wow. Yeah, that's gonna be something I'm gonna have to look up. That sounds pretty dang interesting. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's amazing how you can even get on Google Earth and especially high traffic areas, which you could see like you can see the battleship in Corpus Christi under the water from Google Earth. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen the images from Google Mars? Any of those?
No, I haven't.
If you look up images from Google Mars, there's people that have claimed that they have found bases on Mars. I've seen some images that look like they could possibly be on Mars.
So I see the images of Antarctica.
Yes.
Pyramids underwater there.
Yes.
No, someone posted an image of the Google Earth image of it, and it looked like just so fake. It looked like pieces of paper and like.
Yeah.
Like you can tell what's covered up.
Yeah.
They've covered stuff up on Google Earth, because a long time ago when I was researching Admiral Byrd and the Hollow Earth, I would go and try to see if I could find it, and with Google Earth, and no, it's shut down. It's covered over.
For a no-fly zone, why is it such a big deal? That right there tells you everything.
Oh yeah. And that's another thing that's going on in the world. It's crazy, is the stuff that's going on down in the Antarctic. But we'll never know. They're going to share it with us.
Yeah, and your average civilian can't even get down there anyways.
Right.
So yeah, you'll never know what comes out of Antarctica. I mean, that they could be hiding some sort of base down there where they breed dogmen and bring them to the States, or who knows. Who knows?
It'd be a perfect environment to do it, because you could freeze things down there all the time. There's a seed bank. They keep a seed bank down there of every seed species of everything on the Earth, so that if the Earth is destroyed in a cataclysm, that they can reseed the Earth, supposedly.
Wow.
I've seen images of it too.
That's right, Antonio. Shout out Antonio. He's the one that posted that Google Earth image.
I thought it was Antonio. I wasn't for sure though. But yeah, that was interesting. I looked at it when he posted it.
It looks like it's. He said he left a comment. It's funny. It said it looks like a third or fourth grader put it together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a puzzle, and it just looks so weird.
Have you guys ever seen the map that they? I think it was from Japan, or it's like supposed to be an old map that shows that there's more continents than what's actually here. That we get to see. Like, the Earth doesn't really look like what they say that it looks like. That there's more continents beyond Antarctica. Antarctica, they say, is just a ring. That once you get beyond that, there's more continents. Have you guys heard that?
No, I've never heard that.
No, I haven't.
I'd seen that map once before, and you can actually do a DuckDuckGo Google search on that, and you guys should be able to find out. But there was a story of a guy in Antarctica that. Not Antarctica, but in Japan, he showed up, and he had a passport for a country that doesn't exist. And so they started to investigate this guy, and
Wow.
He disappeared. He disappeared on him. and they couldn't find him. And you know the Japanese are like they're perfectionists, and you're not gonna if you look like a European, you're not gonna just you're just not gonna blend in in Japan.
Yeah, I know that's
Especially if
right.
you're 6 foot tall and you're 4 feet above them.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and he disappeared. But he claimed I forget the name of the place where he said he was going to, but they stopped him and put him in the cell.
So I don't know if you seen the other day, Lee, but dude from Texas posted some good little videos on the reptilians being in the government.
Yes,
And
I didn't see it, but I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that.
the video he posted's on our page, and man, it's not long, but it shows this guy actually in I don't know where it was at, like it may have been there in Congress or something, but he looks like a security type person, and you can just see him. Yeah.
Talking about Phil Snyder.
Yeah. Yes. And man, it just the camera's panning on him. He's kind of in the dark, but you can see his facial features changing just within seconds while the camera's on him, dude. It is insane.
Is he standing? Is he standing down in front of one of the presidents, and like he's a security, like a Secret Service guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that, and he changed.
Okay.
His facial features changes.
Yeah.
It was a security guy, yeah, with the bald head.
Oh yeah. I've seen that.
And, you can tell for sure.
Yep. And then someone posted another one. Dude, who posted? Was it you that posted the one of Dr. Phil?
Yeah, Dr. Phil had a guest on talking about, I'll say, adrenochrome. That, you know, this mother, her daughter died, and if the mother said that it was a satanic ritual for adrena, whatever.
Yeah.
And Dr. Phil got on the show and straight up just made her feel like she was the craziest person on earth. Even Dr. Phil was like, I've never heard of adrena, you know what? And when I researched it, there's a video of Dr. Phil shapeshifted.
Yes. Yes.
Reptilian eyes.
Yes, dude, that was crazy.
Yeah, but he's covering it all up. I mean, we all know who it is. Ollie Weird, all of them.
Oh yeah. They say that they have some kind of technology where they can project a hologram in front of them and make themselves look like a human being. Is what I've heard.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Isn't that's just mind-boggling.
Yes, it is. And you know they have holograms now where I heard a guy giving a testimony about they took him into a room, and this man was up on stage and he was talking like behind a podium, and he was standing there, and then he'd walk beside the podium, and then he'd walk across the stage, and then finally he got done and said, and now we're going to show you guys how this works. And so he come down the aisle and walk past everybody and gets like right in the middle of them, and then they shut the hologram off, and he just disappears.
Wow.
But they were demonstrating to the elite this hologram technology, but he looked just as real as everybody's in the room. And you've seen that video of the Pope at the window. Have you guys seen that one, where the Pope's in the window, and he goes to turn around and walk away, and just before he walks into the building, he disappears? Have you seen that one?
I don't think I have.
I think they're using that technology then. If you guys type in Pope disappears at the window, you guys can get a first-hand look at that holographic technology.
Dang.
So they're just testing that technology, and that's what people are seeing?
Yes.
Wow.
And you've heard of Project Bluebeam, haven't you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Project Bluebeam. And
yes.
Well, they're going to use holograms. That is how they're going to fool people. They're going to put a hologram of Jesus in the sky and talking to everybody in every language, and they're going to fool people. And
and they've been saying that too with the alien invasion too.
Yes. And people keep hearing these noises in the sky, like these trumpets, and they keep hearing these grinding noises in the sky. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're testing. They're testing that stuff. They're using. I believe they're using heart frequencies, and there's a salt layer that's up in the atmosphere. A lot of people don't know about the salt layer that's up there, and I think they're manipulating the salt layer, and they're making sounds with different frequencies.
Wow.
So that would.
Someone did post a video of a screaming sound here in Texas too.
Yeah, that was at Brian. At Brian.
Did you get a chance to hear that one, Lieutenant?
Yeah, I did. I actually seen someone had posted it sounded demonic.
And it was in the air, like it was up in the air.
Yeah.
Like all around. Like whenever they do it, it's like all around.
Yes. Like it's
like if a siren was going off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And where'd they get that technology at? You know, I mean, here we just come out of using crank-up radios, you know, from the 1930s to having a Star Trek handheld communicator in our hand that's TV and everything else that you need.
Yeah.
Cell phone that does everything.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually wild.
Reverse technology.
Yeah. You know, I heard that they pumped out, the radar dishes that they use at the airport. They pump out radar. Like the radio signals or whatever that they pump out with that radar, that's what actually brought the crap down in Roswell, New Mexico.
Wow.
And I got to thinking about that. We drove by the airport the other day, and I seen that big dish turning around, and I thought, well, maybe they're clearing the sky and keeping these things out of the sky with this radar so that the planes can land in, safely. You know, maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, it's just like how the Russians back in, what was it, the 70s and 80s, they built that very large radar that they called the over-the-horizon radar called Duga, which was like, 10 or 20, it was 20 kilometers from the actual Chernobyl plant. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, this thing is massive. And the patterns on it is like nothing you'll ever see. And it's just crazy huge. And that structure puts off a humming noise. Like if you walk by it, it's like totally inoperable, but it puts off a humming noise. Like you can hear a constant humming noise coming from it, and it's weird, very weird.
Lieutenant, look at with the loyal pitch. That's funny.
Where at?
Lee, they tried to say that was a pressure valve broke. That was screaming.
I don't know about that.
I doubt that.
Yeah, I doubt that.
That's the kind of stuff they will say though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll try and cover it up. It's just how, like we were talking the other night about, how the government shows up if you happen to shoot a dog man or Bigfoot. They show up, whether you want them to or not. They're there. I mean, they're keeping tabs on everybody. They know what's going on. But it's
yeah, they sure are.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's one of the reasons why I try to protect you guys by not saying too much about, like, the Adreno stuff.
Yeah.
And that stuff, because I believe, like, you guys ever seen that show, Battlestar Galactica, or, Terminator? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Terminator,
when the AI takes over and they start fighting a war, humans
Yes.
fighting a war against the AI.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you guys think about it, Google and YouTube and the rest of them, they're using AI systems now, and they're using these systems to limit you on the words that you can say, and if you don't say the right things or whatever, they're going to pull you or ban you. Well, we're in the very opening volley of an AI war here against humanity, because they've turned the AI on us, and they're turning it against freedom of speech. So
I absolutely agree with that. I can see it, and you can think it.
Yes.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah, I saw robots that DARPA was making that if there was like a mass extinction event where people died, like tons of people died, they'd make these robots now that they go along, scoop up a human body, and it's like a wood chipper. It chips up the body and just shoots it out the back to dispose of it. Have you guys seen that?
No, I haven't.
That's like a new Terminator movie.
Yeah, and that technology exists. and they've even got these dog-looking robots that can chase you through the woods. Have you seen those?
No.
Yeah, you should look up those dogs. The DARPA's working on this. They look like dogs, or they got these tall, spindly legs on them, and these people will go up to them, and they'll try to kick them and knock them over, and they can't knock them over.
Gerald said 60 Minutes had a segment on it. Austin Technologies.
Yes.
Interesting.
Wow.
That's some interesting stuff, guys.
Sorry, Lee, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You keep on going, buddy. You want to talk about the alien agenda and the reptilians.
Well, no, what I thought was interesting, Lee, was last time you were on and you left, we were in the middle of the anti-gravity propulsion. I had some questions about that. Like.
Oh, okay.
On the reverse technology, I'm wondering, what do you think is beyond that now that we know?
I thought propulsion. I think it's thought. Go ahead.
Not just the TR3B, but like what goes above that you know of.
I think it's thought propulsion. They have thought propulsion vehicles where they can just think of where they want to go and go.
That's interesting. I read in a book. He said that he was abducted or something, and he was a pilot, and they wanted him to fly the craft, and he said all he had to do was think.
Yes, and they had that. You remember when Obama was in, they were doing the brain mapping initiative. You remember that, where they were mapping out the brain.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they've talked about how these new, I think it's is it the F-35 stealth fighter that they have? They have sensors in the helmet that picks up the pilot's thoughts. And they said basically that thing can fly itself, and you can fly that thing just by thinking about it.
Wow.
So it's really sci-fi movies coming to reality. It's not just sci-fi, Tracy. They put everything in our face.
Yeah, it's
I mean everything. Bigfoot,
yes, they do.
And werewolves, you name it.
Yep.
Even Adrena, it's all out there.
Well, the example of that is like you're talking about them putting that in, stuff in Hollywood, putting it out there. You guys realize that that book, Frankenstein, for example, made by Mary Shelley, the author Mary Shelley, her husband was a doctor, and that's what he was working on. He was trying to reanimate the dead. He was digging up bodies, or he would take cadavers, and he'd take an arm off of one and put it on a body, and then was trying to reanimate it with electricity. That's what you guys did.
That's wild you say that, Lee, because I read, I think, was it last year, that in South America they were trying to reanimate the dead, and that someone down there was actually successful at it.
Reanimating the dead?
Kind of like a zombie.
Yeah, I actually watched a show, and it was a while back, and it was a show, I'm trying to think, it was like one of them shows like, let me think here. It wasn't like on a History Channel. It was like something like The Strange and the Beyond the Strange or Bizarre or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, the story was they talked about there was a village down there in South America somewhere, and the CIA went down there because there was something to do with the drug cartels or something. But anyway, they captured this person. They basically, when they captured this person, they had some kind of technology. They gutted this person out, and they hooked up these electrodes to this person, and they dressed this person up to make it look like, say like, I'm just going to say Quetzalcoatl or one of the South American gods. Anyway, they dressed it up in full headdress and everything, and they were actually able to remotely control this being, and they put bottles of gas, this noxious gas, that would kill you. It was a toxic gas that would kill you inside this body, and put the tube out of the mouth, and this animated dead body would go around is scaring these villagers and shooting this gas out, and it was killing these people in this village. So they didn't even have to go down there and fire a shot. They just basically remotely drove this cadaver through the village, spraying gas out of its mouth. And,
wow.
And the ones that did survive run away from it.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
The technology we got now, I can totally see it.
Be Moss Slickler with that emoji. Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Zombie apocalypse, man. I'm going out to the woods with the dog men. Hell with it.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, they might be able to teach us how to hide.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, not to change the subject, but real quick, I don't know if y'all ever seen. It's a documentary called Bigfoot: A Hidden Reality, and you want to see something interesting about camouflaging? Watch that documentary. The show.
You said that when Kirk said that, or I'm sorry,
Paul. Dude, I watched it the other night, and it's amazing. They put a Sasquatch hair under a microscope, and when they took the light away from the hair, it turned green, like different shades of green, like it was camouflaged. It was insane. You talking about camouflaging? I never knew that. I never knew
Like
that.
like a chameleon.
Almost,
Chameleon.
yeah. Almost, yeah.
Like a chameleon in the fur.
Yeah.
The fur would change color.
Yeah.
That'd be a ghillie suit, wouldn't it? One that was made out of fiber optics.
Yes.
Fiber optic ghillie suit.
Yeah, and that's what it looked like. Because, man, they had the light on it, and it looked like the brownish color. And as soon as you take the light away, it turned all these little different shades of green, like it would blend in with the foliage. It was wild.
Have you guys seen the? It's a footage of a. It's like when they first went into Iraq. It'd be the second time. There's these tanks. They're coming down the street, and they have the picture like blowed up so you can see it real well. And off from the right hand side, you see just like this blurred image coming from the side, and then all of a sudden this soldier jumps up on top of the vehicle. He like just appears like out of nowhere. He just appears out of nowhere and jumps up on this tank, and they get him out of there. But they said that he had some kind of a cloaking suit on that cloaked him. Had you guys seen that?
No, I hadn't seen that. Was it kind of like it was maybe bending light?
It may be, but you couldn't really see him until you could see just kind of like you know what a heat signature looks like?
Yes.
Like the heat coming off, shimmering off the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looked like. Just a shimmer of him coming through there, and then he got to the tank, and they stopped, and he jumped up on it, and they took off.
Yeah, and see, there's been reports of people seeing that out in the woods. Like maybe one of these cryptids is able to do that. That was a real that was a real heavy subject on the missing 411. Because the lady gave a description what she was looking at her tree stand, and her description was it looked like the Predator from the movie.
Yes.
That's wild, dude.
There was on that Tony Merkel show, The Confessionals. He had I've been listening to some of his stuff, and he had a guy that was actually from Indiana here, and his name was JR, and he had an encounter with one that cloaked like that. And he said, if you can imagine it looking at it, and it looks like it's wearing everything around you that you're looking at, which he just described it as just like the Predator in the movie. And he said when it took off away from him, it parted the grass.
Wow.
And that's about I don't know, that would probably be about a 2-hour drive for me from here. That's to the southwest of me, or southeast of me.
Wow,
and
that's crazy.
It's on the border of Ohio, kind of close to the border of southern Ohio. So you guys know the Grassman's there in Ohio.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. He's there heavy too, man. There's another guy putting videos out of him, and he actually got heat signatures of the Grassman on thermal. And man, this guy went out there by himself, and he actually starts the video walking from his car. Now, I don't know. There's the possibility always of him having someone go out there before him, but man, you can hear this thing growl. One of them sounds like a bear, but the other few growls he gets, you can tell ain't no bear. And it was loud. It was loud.
Wow.
I almost had to wipe once or twice, cause man, and when it happened, you could tell it caught him off guard because his FLIR almost like he shuddered and he almost dropped it.
Wow.
And I was like, ooh, and he said I can't.
Almost a Charmin moment.
Yeah, and he goes, I come out here armed, but I don't tell nobody what I carry because YouTube will take me down or whatever. But he goes, it's big enough to drop something.
Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen the? I've seen this a couple times. Me and my mom both watched it. We both saw it one night at her house, and it was the footage of a guy. He's out walking his dog. The dog's coming up the road, but I think the dog stops and it turns around and looks, and this Bigfoot walks across the road in front of him. And so this guy, he tells his family, "You guys just stay there. I'm going after this thing and see what it is." And he goes in after it in the woods, and looks like he gets up within 20 yards of this thing, and this thing turns broadside and trying to get away from him is what it's doing. And it like tries to go down over this hill, and he gets up close to it, and it starts going ooh, ooh, like that, like it's like barking at him like a dog, and it's telling him to leave. And that is the most real Bigfoot footage I've ever seen. If you're people out here listening to this show, if any of you guys come across that, post that on your guys' website, because it is some good footage. I'm telling you. I wish I would have saved it. But it's scary if you see it. It's like, this guy's crazy.
Wow.
It never turned around like it was going to attack him or anything, but it let him know that, dude, you're getting in my personal space, and it's right. This woods is going to get real small real quick.
Wow. Yeah, it was time for him to bounce on out of there. That's too close. Yeah. That's too close. 20 yards is way too close.
Oh, yeah, it is. Let me ask you, Lieutenant, on this alien agenda thing, do you know anything about the Grenada Treaty that Eisenhower supposedly signed with the extraterrestrials for technology?
No, I've heard of it, but I've never been able to research it. Do you have any info on that?
The only thing that I know about it is that he supposedly made an agreement with the I think it was either the Greys or the Reptilians, and what the treaty was they would allow them to abduct so many people in exchange for weaponry or high technology that they could use for weaponry. And the deal was supposed to be that these aliens were supposed to keep a log of everybody that they abducted and they experimented with, and I guess they didn't. They just did whatever they wanted because they gave them the go-ahead or whatever.
Wow.
That's the extent of what I've heard about the alien, the Grenada Treaty or whatever.
That could be why we're so far advanced more than everybody else.
Yeah, could be. I think so. I think that's really a lot of it. We've got some alien technology that the rest of the world doesn't have. But one thing you do have to remember is, I believe that Russia has some of the Tesla technology, because he supposedly gave a bunch of his diagrams to his one of his family members and his schematics to take back to Russia with them, or to the Ukraine. I think it was the Ukraine is where they took them. And they had truckloads came and took some of the stuff and went over to Russia. But they say they've got Tesla. They've got Tesla weapons and scalar weapons over there in Russia. I don't know if you guys have heard that or not.
Wow.
Have you guys ever heard of scalar weapons or torsion weapons?
I have the Tesla, but not the...
Yeah, not the others.
The scalar technology is some very interesting stuff. They, I shouldn't even say the word. Orgone is. You know what orgone is, or orgonite?
Mm-mm.
If you guys research on orgonite, basically what it is if you make this stuff, it creates, say like your body has a bioenergy field, like an electrical bio field. It takes electricity in your body to for your heart to beat, for you to get impulses to your brain and your nervous system, right? Well, this orgone, what it'll do is, if it's made correctly, it will take your body's bioelectrical energy field, and if you're hurt or sick or whatever in whatever area it is, it'll take that energy, and it'll transmute the bad energy and put it back into your body as good energy, and it's a healing, like a healing energy. But this the guy that invented it, his claim was, and if you can look this up, his name is Dr. Wilhelm Reich, and it's spelled Reich, I believe. And anyway, he claimed that he could bring down UFOs with that orgone.
Oh wow.
And one of the things that the orgone will do is, if the chemtrails. There's another topic we probably shouldn't talk about, but anyway, it will create. What it does is it creates a vortex. This orgone energy field creates a vortex, and this vortex basically pushes out the pollution from these chemtrails, pushes it out into space and away from your property. And I've kind of experimented with some of that stuff, and I'll tell you guys that picture that I've got of the UFO that I took, that I've got almost 200 photographs of, it showed up after I put a cloud buster out that I had built, that I made, which is a big piece of that. And
you still have that picture?
No, I've got it on a thumb drive. I've got almost 200 photographs of it.
Wow.
And I watched it for an hour and 45 minutes, and the reason why I think I got to watch it so long was I think the orgone generator that I had knocked its propulsion system out, or its drive out, and it was like it was stuck in the sky and it couldn't move. And
can you post some of those pictures to the group if you don't mind?
I can post you one. Okay, here we go. Let me see here. I'm gonna post. Well, let me see. Is the group on your? Let me see here. Let me grab it real quick.
I got
it online.
I got a link below.
Yeah.
And it'll take you to the YouTube channel and to the Facebook page.
Okay, I'm getting ready to. I'm going to copy this. Gotta open it up. I gotta open it up here, and I gotta copy it, and then I'm gonna. Okay. Copy, and I'm gonna bring it over to you guys. You say you posted a link. You posted a link, or are you on? You want me to put it? Can I send it to you, David, from Texas? Can you get it on there?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna paste it and send it to you.
Okay.
Nice.
There you go. You should have it. Yeah, you'll if you can blow that up and look at it, you can see some detail on it.
Okay.
Nice.
Did
So
somebody try to?
Wow, that's like classic saucer shape.
Yeah, and I've got one photograph that I've got of it. It looks like it's generating a cloud, like it's trying to make a cloud cover around itself so that it can hide, but it wasn't hiding from me.
Well, if you notice, most of the UFO sightings seem like they are trying to stay like by the clouds and by the.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things about that deal right there, when you guys see that picture, if you guys can blow it up, it's a really good picture. Somebody tried to tell me, I tried to send it to one of these other paranormal shows, and they sent me a text back when they looked at it, and they said, oh, well, that's the Google balloon. Well, I hate to tell them that wasn't the Google balloon, because I watched it for an hour and 45 minutes. If that was a balloon, it would have moved through in the jet stream constant. It would have been constant. It wouldn't have stopped.
No, not at
this
all.
Thing stopped on a dime. And I got to tell you, now you guys are going to think this is goofy when I say this, and this is stupid, but you know how they say you can talk to them telepathically? You know what I'm talking about? You can talk with aliens or whatever telepathically. Well, I gave them a message, and here's what the message said. I said, if you're not here for the greater good of mankind, then you don't need to be here, and you need to leave. But if you came here to help us, and you want to help us and help humanity out, then you're welcome to stay. But if you're here for no good and malevolent purposes, then you need to leave. And I mean, they didn't take off for a while, but you know, they stayed around for about an hour and 45 minutes. And
Wow.
I tried to call MUFON. I tried to call different people. Couldn't get a hold of anybody. Finally got a hold of a guy. Finally got a hold of a guy from MUFON, and he just kind of blew it off. And he said, "Well, what color is it?" And I said, "It's white." And he said, "Well, that's what everybody's been reporting seeing around here lately. Is that?" And That photograph was taken in 2016 in April. Actually this month.
Yeah, that ain't no. I just got that picture. That ain't no balloon.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
And if you look at it, if you can blow it up, if you look at it, there's like some round dome things on the bottom of it, and then one of the pictures I looked at it through binoculars, and it looked like it almost had
There's something like white and spirit. Like
Yeah.
Spirit shape in them.
Yeah, underneath.
Yeah.
There's actually a big one and a smaller one.
Yes.
Wow, that's insane.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Ain't no problem. But,
Yeah, if y'all want to take a quick look at that, that's what it looks like. I don't know if y'all could see it, but
I also sent it to the group.
Well, that's awesome, guys. I appreciate that, David. I was trying to do it.
Sure.
I was having some trouble there.
yeah.
No problem.
But anyway, that showed up after I. Oh man, that looks really good on his thing that he's got blowed up there. There
Yeah.
you go, guys.
Yeah,
Isn't that cool?
it came out good. Came out really good. I just hope the
Yeah.
glare don't mess with it, but yeah, you can see a lot of detail in it.
Oh, and here, okay, here's something weird about that, guys. I used a Rebel Canon as my wife's camera, and her camera had a zoom lens on it, like a longer zoom lens. And you know how you talked about that, guys, like the image blurred out or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, like how they affect electronics.
Mm-hmm.
This thing, whenever I went to look it up or like download the images off the camera, there was no images on the on the card.
Wow.
And I had to use. It took me 2 days. I had to go on and get a program off of the internet. I think it was called Odin or something like that, to do a deep scan on that little disc thing that we had, and I got those images back with that program. It took me 2 days to do it, and it was really technical stuff, but I got it. I had to pull that images right back out of there.
Wow.
But it was like something didn't want those images being seen, kind of thing, you know.
Wow. Yeah, that's really really weird. How it.
I didn't call the Air Guard, because we have an Air National Guard here. They fly drones and stuff like that around here. I never called them because I figured they probably already know it's up there anyway, and they probably come and confiscate my stuff. So
Yeah,
I
that's.
never.
Lee, was that one completely silent too? I couldn't remember what you said.
There wasn't any noise to it, and when I first saw it, I was sitting here in the house, and for some reason I just had this feeling if I went outside I was going to see something, and so I walked out.
That's amazing. You're not the only one that has said that. You know,
Yeah.
people in the house and they feel like they need the urge to go outside, and then they
Yes.
Hey,
And go ahead.
hey, Dave, did you feel? I know you had caught one. One night when you and I were chatting, you went outside to let your dog out, and you had caught a video. It would look like a UFO. Did you have that same feeling, like something told you to go outside?
No. I just happened to. When I go outside and it's later, and the sky's darker here in Fort Worth, you can see easier. And that light was strange, and I just kept my eye on it. And I was like, what the heck? It's getting bigger and then going out and getting bigger and going out. So I started recording it, and I didn't know what it would turn out like. But you really can't get a whole lot out of it, but it's kind of like it is what it is in the video.
Yeah, that was some, and being that was from your phone, that was some
Yeah.
really good footage. Really good footage, cause
It looked like it was far away. It really wasn't.
yeah, it looked far, but you could tell by the way it was moving that wasn't nothing natural.
And see, I have Lockheed, not even Lockheed Dynamics. Where they work on airplanes and stuff, and the base is not even like 20 minutes from here. So I don't know if they got stuff going on, or you just never know.
Yeah, with a base being that close, who knows what they could have put up there, and thinking everyone's asleep, and you got your night owls who are out there. Oh, look what I caught, and busted.
I've seen a lot of stuff out here at night that wasn't satellite. I know that.
Yeah. Oh, you could tell that wasn't no satellite. You could tell, because it was moving strange. It was moving strange. Go ahead, Lee.
somebody tried to tell me that picture that I just sent you guys was a satellite.
Mm-mm.
I just laughed at him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, that is the biggest satellite I've ever seen.
Yeah, right.
They're out in space.
Yeah, yeah. How can you see it in the daytime? You know.
Yeah,
I've never
exactly.
seen a satellite in the daytime.
Exactly.
Satellites orbiting right here in our atmosphere now.
Yeah.
Where can we see your footage of that UFO that you caught, David?
I'm gonna have to dig that up and find it, but I know I have it. I know I didn't erase it.
Oh yeah, we're all knee deep in fingernails, waiting to see it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think you posted it. Didn't you post it to the page?
I think I did.
I think you did. I think you
Is
did.
it on your guys' page, or is it on what page is it on?
I posted it to Marvin's the Duck Pack page and
The Duck Pack page.
Yeah, it was on both pages.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, dude, you can definitely tell that's something not natural.
Did I tell you guys a story about the farmers that I talked to? Him and his sons were. It would have been last fall. They were harvesting crops about 1:30 in the morning, and this would probably be. I'm going to guess maybe by the way the crow flies, I'd say it's probably 7 miles away from where we live over here. Anyway, while they were out harvesting crops, these lights come down out of the sky, and they hovered right over top of their combine, and they'd shoot out in front of the combine, and then they'd circle around them, and then they'd go right back over the top of the combine, and then shoot back out, and then circle around them, and then they got tired of it, so the things would zip off, and then they would zip back, and they'd come back and dive down, and they'd do it again. And they got mad, and they thought that it was somebody with drones messing with them. And so they hurried up and tried to get their combines back to their vehicles, and they tried to chase the thing. And he said there wasn't no way that they were going to catch up with these things. And fast forward about, I don't know, maybe about 3 weeks ago, I was talking to a lady, and about, I don't know, to the east of us, there's a little town. I think it's maybe 3 miles away. And this woman had told her that she was driving home, and a light come down out of the sky, and it followed her home. It stayed right on her and followed her right into the driveway. And she jumped out of the car. She was so scared and run in the house.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I'd have hightailed into the house.
Yeah, I would have too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So there's some definite strange stuff. The lady that I talked to about it, she's seen some kind of a craft that came down just up the road from where we live here. It came down out of the sky and hovered above a cornfield and took off. But she said it had turquoise lights on it. Now, I've never heard of any aircraft that I know of or a helicopter with turquoise lights.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So, and that was just up the road here. But we've decided, we kind of think that this area in general, we think it has a portal around here. There's some kind of a portal.
Yeah, see... Go ahead.
You guys know who? There's a lady by the name of Debbie Jordan Cave. I think it's her last name is spelled Kaube. And I put a link to one of her videos where she was giving a talk. She lives up in Avon, Indiana, which is I don't know. It may be close to an hour from here. And she got abducted, and there's a movie. They actually made a movie of her abduction, and it's called Intruders. And it's from the 90s, and you guys can look up the movie. It's a documentary, or not documentary. It's a movie from the 90s called Intruders, but it's based on her abduction experience. And I've talked to other people that have had missing time, and they've seen other craft up in this area here. So this is definitely there's a hot spot around here.
Yeah. Wow. So I know. You just speaking of that movie, and this is one of the more famous ones of the time, but you remember Fire in the Sky?
Yes, I do.
What's your opinion on Travis Walton? Because I know some information just come up here recently that now he's redacting what he said back then, and that was after they all took lie detector tests and passed.
Um, what I saw a thing on. I actually met Travis Walton, and I asked him this face to face. You There was a show on called To Be a Millionaire or something like that. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And he was on that show. I think that was the show. And they asked the people. They said, he was abducted or whatever. Took a lie detector test. Did he pass or fail? And they said on that show he failed. He failed the lie detector test. And I just asked him straight up. I said I had heard that and I'd watched that on the video or on YouTube and seen that, and he said, well, he said the thing about that was that on that show To Be a Millionaire, he said if you ever watched it, he said nobody ever won the $1 million, and he said they did that intentionally on him so that the person wouldn't win the $1 million, and so then how could he disprove it, after they basically said that. If you watch the footage of them saying that to him on the show, it looks like he's gut shot, man. Like he's just sick when they say that to him. So honestly, I don't know. I want to believe the story, and I can tell you this: I'm not sure exactly how old he is. He's an older gentleman, but his hair looks just as young as. Like he has the hair of a young man, and that's supposedly where his wound was at. He had a head wound that they supposedly worked on.
Right.
And if they would have done that, I think they done something to him where if he doesn't dye his hair, which it did not look like it to me, that's one thing that struck me about him was, man, for an older man, he's got a thick, youthful looking hair, and I just kind of thought that was odd.
Yeah.
For an older gentleman, especially a redhead. Most redhead people you see, they're, thin in hair, gray or whatever. This guy didn't have any gray. His hair was just the same color as if he was a young man.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, there was information that came up on him, I want to say maybe a month or two ago, and I read it on Google saying that he's trying to redact his whole experience, that it didn't happen, and I don't, honestly, they put so much effort in trying to make everybody believe that he was abducted, and now all of a sudden, why is he trying to redact it? I mean, is the government giving him so much crap, trying to keep him quiet, or are they threatening him?
They do that. They make him. I watched an interview with one of the guys that was with him when that happened, and he swears up and down that it did happen. And he said that I don't think he even really liked Travis, the guy that was on the show that was telling this. And he said when it knocked him back, he thought, yeah, his ass is dead. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So. But he said it was a white. I think that guy described it as a white disc looking thing, and he said it made a funny noise, like it made some kind of a noise, like when it was hovering. But he had all kinds of details about it. So I mean, it's kind of strange that they all have the same story, but I don't know. Maybe they thought, well, this logging thing ain't panning out, so let's make up a story and make some money.
Right. Right. Yeah, that was.
But I don't see them doing that. I mean, that's awful. They went through a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That that messed a lot of people's lives up.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Matter of fact, everyone there plus their families. I mean.
Yes.
It was just crazy.
Actually, when I met Travis Walton, what I got off of him was I believed the guy. I believed him. I actually shared the story with him about my grandfather's experience about meeting somebody that was an extraterrestrial, and I was telling him a few details about things, and he told me, he said, that some of those things are not just a coincidence.
Right. Right.
So, the movie The Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Richard Dreyfuss,
Mm-hmm.
In that movie, he's sitting on a railroad track when he sees the UFO, and it's supposed to take place in Muncie, Indiana, is where it's supposed to take place. And that's where I'm originally from. My family's from Muncie area. But in that movie, he says that Richard Dreyfuss, they ask him where he's at. And He said, I'm sitting here at Cornbread Road, and that's when he sees the UFO. And my father and grandfather, my father grew up on Cornbread Road. That's an actual road there in Muncie, and my grandfather had a hell of a UFO experience when they lived there. And I just thought all the roads in Muncie, for them to choose, they choose Cornbread Road to be in Close Encounters.
Wow. You know, since we're on the UFO topic, last night I was at a party for my uncle, 50th wedding anniversary, and I was sitting there chatting with my dad, and I overheard him saying something about the other night on our property. He's seen a UFO out there, and I didn't get to talk to him because of course we were at the party having a good time, but I told him, me and you going to talk in a few days, and he goes, yeah, I'll describe to you what I seen. I mean, it wasn't nothing of this world.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he won't come on the show. He won't.
Oh man.
But I'll get the info from him. He was like, it was something out there, because we've seen him out there before. It's nothing new. I mean, I've seen 2 out there in my experiences, but they were years apart. But around that area, man, it's crazy. We got all kind of encounters that have happened out there. You know, Lee, if you ever go through the shows I got on there on YouTube now, you can hear them, man. You know, my sister and I have had lots of encounters out there. I know for sure I got a Bigfoot, and then I caught recent evidence about 2 months ago of a hand. And next to that hand, you can see a large mass shadow with 2 pointed ears sticking up. So,
Tell them about the creatures you saw running off.
oh yeah. Matter of fact, I had told Paul Chafin this on the other night when I was co-hosting with B. I was pulling up to my feeder, and my feeder's right along the wood line. And it kind of goes down into a little valley. It's not real big, but it kind of slopes down. There's a creek. Then you go back up just a little bit, and the woods is probably about 150 yards wide, maybe 200 at most. And then on the other side is a huge reservoir. And I mean, huge reservoir. And on the other side of that reservoir is a river. And so I was pulling up to the feeder during the day. And as I pulled up and looked to the right across from my feeder, across the creek, I counted 5 of them, and I couldn't tell what they are, but they were on all 4s. They were really tall, and they were white. And as soon as I pulled up, I seen them all bolt off. I jumped out the truck with my phone, ran through the woods, and when I got to the wood line, they were gone. No trace at all. It was insane.
Wow.
Insane.
You know, that's kind of odd that you said that. There were 5 of them. That number 5 keeps coming up around here. The woman that I talked to, she said that she's like a clairvoyant,
Mm-hmm.
and she keeps mentioning seeing 5 creatures, and she had seen these 5. They looked like what she described as like a dog man type thing, and she said they stood up, and when she saw them, she said they stood up like a man, and she said they shot down in the ground, and when me and my wife first moved in here, where we live at now, and where she saw this was just across the field from us up here. And when we pulled in the driveway one time, there were these 5 coyotes coming down the field, and they run right by our car, and they stopped right by the car, and they stopped and looked at us, and they were jet black coyotes. I mean, they weren't like monstrous, tall, big. They were just like your average size coyote, but they were all jet black, and they had the yellow eyes, and they just stopped and they stared at us. And I told her, I said, all right, I said, I'm going up here to the house, and I said, you stay in the car. I'm going in and getting a gun, and I'm coming back out, because they'll pack up on us and they'll try to attack us. Well, they took off. They didn't stick around. But yeah, that number 5 keeps coming. I'm glad that the ones that you saw were white, but the ones here were black.
Yeah.
And, you know, black sometimes is associated with the black, you know, the bad energy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and the ones I seen, you can tell they were a canine creature, because all I saw was from mid to the back on all 5 of them. For whatever reason,
All
I could,
five.
yeah, I couldn't see the front from the midsection up to the head. I couldn't see it, but they showed me the rear end as they were taking off, and they all had haunches, and they were huge, dude. I
Wow.
guesstimate.
The head down was close.
I guesstimate probably on all 4s they had to be at least 4.5 foot tall, at least.
Wow, that's huge.
They were
man.
huge, dude. They were huge. When I got out, I could hear them running through the woods, and it was loud. I mean, and gone. As soon as in the wood line where I was at, probably about 20, 25 yards. Because I parked right in front of my feeder, and as soon as I hit the woods, gone. No trace. I walked all up and down them woods, just panning with my phone to see if I can even catch anything, and it was just eerily quiet. You couldn't hear nothing. You couldn't see nothing. They were gone.
Wow. You know, you talk about that reservoir and then the river. There's your connection right there. There's your travel route.
Yep.
I've been telling you.
Yep. And you know that reservoir. There's an old sulfur plant that used to use that reservoir for whatever they use it for, extracting the sulfur and whatever. And then back behind that reservoir, there's a roadway, and then on the other side of the roadway is a river, which goes a long way. And then there's an old airport out there that the owner of all that property out there still uses to this day, dude, and it's freaky. Now, if you go to the west of that airport, just to the west, there is a huge, and it's bigger than this reservoir, a huge natural lake that was made when that levee breached on that river. And it's breached, I think, twice. And it threw all that water in, and there's another huge natural lake out there where all that water went to. It contained it. I mean, there's freaking, you can see old electrical poles sticking up like 3-4 foot out the ground. It's deep.
Oh wow.
It's
Yeah,
deep.
that's got to be deep with telephone poles sticking
Yeah.
out.
Yep. And there's
There-
there's a silo out there too. Right where we would go to fish at it, you could see a silo sticking up probably about 9 feet.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty deep.
You know, another thing about the river that a lot of people don't realize is that over, like hundreds and thousands of years of a river being there, there's been caverns and caves and all kinds of stuff carved out underground along the banks of the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'd be a great place for them things to hide. And, a lot of times, like maybe when the rivers come up, maybe that drives them things up out of their cave systems.
Yeah.
And,
Tennessee, Kentucky, I'm trying to think where else. Even some in East Texas, I think.
oh yeah.
Yep. And you know that,
North
but
Carolina.
before we bought that property, it had been untouched for about anywhere from 30 to 40 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was that, for that long, huh?
For that long, they only had cows on it for a while, and but they wouldn't really do nothing with that property. But yeah, no one owned no property out there. That guy that owns all that land out there, he had owned it, and he decided to sell some lots, and my dad bought a huge lot. He's fixing to buy another one, the one next to it. But he told us, man, y'all go out there, hunt, do whatever you want out here. Ain't no one gonna bother you. And almost immediately, man, I started catching just a little bit of evidence, and then in December there was a generation station next to the old sulfur plant, and they shut it down because the maintenance that it would require to keep it running was just too high. It wasn't cost effective, so they shut it down. And after that, it seemed like all the activity just dramatically increased, because we got power lines running right through the middle of our property with them big structures with the arms.
The big power lines?
Yeah, we got one of those structures almost right in the middle of our property.
They say they follow those power lines, and not only did the Bigfoot follow the power lines, but they say they see UFOs following them power lines.
I believe it, because we've seen UFOs out there. I mean,
they say they gather energy from them, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly. You took the word down of my mouth.
Sorry, David.
No, I was just saying that's interesting.
And you know, you know what's crazy about that property, Lee? That town and the property that's out there. It was built on an Indian burial ground.
Indian burial ground.
Yep.
Oh man, that's a bad deal right there.
Yep.
To start with.
Yep.
Wow.
There's even a guy who visited there actually wrote a book on some of the encounters that have happened out there, and they're wild. They are wild.
Dude, on your that woods you were talking about, you said it was about 100 yards wide. Is that what you said? About 100 yards.
About 150. Some spots 200 yards wide. I mean, because it kind of tapers because the foliage gets real thick and it grows out. And some areas it's a little narrower than others. But yeah,
so it's like a natural funnel then.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you deer hunt that?
Yeah. I've got deer up at my feeder right now. I mean, yeah. And
well, that's a good source. You got hogs out there?
Oh, bunches of them. And you know what? You know what's crazy is I've been catching some evidence here the last couple of weeks, and the trail camera I got facing my feeder sends pictures to my phone. So if anything triggers that camera, I get it to my phone. Well, back behind that, I got another camera, just a regular trail cam on the trail. And I've been watching the cell link that sends the pictures to my phone. I haven't seen any hogs. I went and checked the ones on the trails. They're all in the trails, dude. They won't come to the feeder for whatever reason. And
do you think maybe they're having their young maybe this time of year, or do they have them all year round?
I know they do have some young this time of year, but the ones I seen didn't have any young. They were adult-sized hogs, and they wouldn't go up to that feeder. And I've been catching all kind of evidence right there in front of that cell link camera at the feeder.
That Bigfoot's loving you. He's like, oh man, you put me out of a bait pile.
Yeah. And I tell you this. If you walk all up and down them trails, dude, there is bones scattered everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Everywhere. Something out there is eating good. We've had a couple cows go missing, and we found them. Nothing but carcasses left. It's crazy, dude. Crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's a real hot spot.
That sounds like a pretty good spot there. The hand that you saw, was it fur-covered hand?
Yes. And then I caught, about a week and a half ago, I caught one at night where you could see fingers. You could see fingers, and right in front of the fingers, dude, toward the feeder, there was a coy wolf. There was a coy wolf sitting right there at the feeder.
A big one.
Yeah, wow. No joke. Dave and Lisa and everybody seen them pictures.
Yeah, you guys be careful, man. You be careful out there with that.
Oh yeah.
And coy dogs can be vicious.
Oh, they are. And
well, I'm sure you know about the hogs are vicious too.
Yep.
That ain't nothing to mess with either, but.
Yep. They're not.
Oh, here in Texas, the hogs, yeah, you don't mess with those either.
Are you using do you know what a plot watcher is, Lieutenant?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what a plot watcher camera is?
Yes.
Now, do you use a plot watcher, or do you just have the ones that shoot, have the infrared on them?
So the all my cameras have infrared, and the one I have by the feeder has an attachment. It's called a cell link, and what you do is you attach it to that camera, and then you put it. It's got a transmitting cable. Then you attach it above that camera, wherever you put it on the tree, and it has an antenna, and so it has cellular data. And so whenever something triggers it, it'll send you a picture to your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
really cool.
Now, I just recently found out though they do have them plot watching cameras that will actually live stream.
Do they? The reason why I was asking about the plot watcher was, I think sometimes that those, I think the Bigfoot can see the infrared on them.
Oh, absolutely, they can.
So
absolutely.
If a Bigfoot was tracking a deer, or they were watching a deer, or they knew that the deer were frequenting that spot, when you set that that cell phone up, and it shoots that infrared out on them deer, when the deer come in to eat, and it lights that area up,
mm-hmm.
the Bigfoot already know that it's there.
Yep.
Because it probably, I think their eyes can see it because I think they live underground, and I think they can see in the dark. I think they have the capabilities of being able to see in the dark. And
Absolutely,
so
they do.
whenever those deer kick them lights on, them infrared, it's just like a big spotlight to a Bigfoot, and everybody says, "Well, we don't know how they're detecting these cameras." That's how they're detecting it. They don't even have to walk in front of it. They're just the other animals or the wind blowing a limb does.
I can tell you this much. I have a night vision scope on one of my rifles, and I was panning one night, and there was a raccoon that ran across and triggered that infrared. And man, I'm gonna tell you, it's when you're looking through night vision, it's bright. It's very bright.
Right up like a spotlight.
It does. But you know what? I bought a thermal scope. You can't see it on a thermal scope.
Oh, you can't see the infrared on a thermal scope?
Nope, you can't see that light trigger on a thermal scope. All you see on the thermal is like body heat, and like any kind of heat generator. The IR doesn't generate any heat, so you won't see it trigger.
Well, that makes sense, but that gives you a good idea of self-defense. If you set up a perimeter with them trail cams on it, and they have that infrared, and you was using night vision at night to watch your perimeter, and somebody come in there and broke that beam, man, it'd light them up like daylight.
Yeah, it definitely will. But
they wouldn't even know it. They were right on it.
Yep, and you're right. You're right, and that's why I got a thermal, because one, if a night vision scope, in order for it to work correctly, you got to have an IR light attached somewhere on the rifle. A thermal scope, you don't have to have it. It just detects the heat. And man, I tell you what, it was well worth the purchase for me, because I go out there and I use that thermal scope now, and you just wouldn't imagine what you can see. Doing the black hot, the white hot, the other different color palettes. It has the red and yellow, kind of like how the Predator would see. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Is yours an ATN?
Yes.
Do you have an ATN?
Yeah, both of them are ATN.
That's some good thermal.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty expensive, but it was well worth the purchase, because it also captures pictures and video. So if I'm out there and I have my rifle on the tripod, and I see a big bipedal creature, I can record it.
Mm-hmm. My brother-in-law was using that thermal camera like that in Texas, and he was shooting images of the thermal to his boy that was using night vision, and they were shooting hogs with them. And they said it worked really well. They was just having a blast with it.
Yeah, it does. It works really well. You're kind of at a disadvantage with it when you're in real thick foliage, because everything kind of blends together depending on what color palette you use. But I mean, you'll still be able to make out if there's something out there, and that's primarily why I bought it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And
do you think there's a connection with these Bigfoot and these UFOs, Lieutenant?
I've heard people say that, when they've had an encounter of a Bigfoot and even a dogman, that they've actually seen a UFO either hovering or flying over. And I mean, it's not out the realm of possibility.
Have you heard of a guy by the name? Sorry, David.
No, I was just going to say, I think there's more orbs associated with Sasquatch, if I'm not mistaken, and then UFOs are around dogmen, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. I've heard them saying that Native Americans will tell you that when you see those orbs in the woods, that's Bigfoot. Like they turn themselves into the orbs.
See, and that's crazy, dude. Because I the other night I caught some orbs going across the trail camera.
So and different colored ones. They say different colored orbs are different things too.
Yep.
Yeah. A buddy of mine that he's a deer hunter. He put a tree stand up, and he went to go out and hunt out of his stand, and somebody else had put a tree stand up too close to him. So he decided he's gonna go back out in the middle of the night and get his tree stand and move it to another location, because it's just too close for him to be hunting around somebody else. And so he went that night, and they took a buddy with him. And while they were there, they seen this light up on the hill, and they thought, well, somebody's coming down with a flashlight, and they're going to come down in here and try to run them off. But he had permission to be there, and so he was like waiting for this light to come on down. Well, it comes right on down, and it gets right with, I forget how many feet he said, but it was close enough that when it came down, that he could reach out and try to touch this thing.
Wow.
And he said it was the shape of a football, kind of a elongated football, and he said it was green, like green in color. And he said when it came down, he said he walked over to it, and he tried to touch it with his hand, and he said as he tried to touch it, he said it was like this thing had an intelligence about it, and it backed away from him. And then it wouldn't let him touch it. It just kept on backing away, and then it finally took off and went back up the hill. But he said it had an intelligence about it.
Wow.
So,
That's
and
amazing.
it was in a heavily wooded area, so that could have been a squatch or something.
Yeah. Could have been.
Until we see one transform into a orb or transform from an orb to a Bigfoot, we'll not know.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard stories about those orbs trying to lure people deeper into the woods. Have you guys heard that?
I've heard something of the sort. I haven't heard a whole lot on it, but I mean that would make sense why maybe some of these people go missing in these like national forests or in these real desolate areas. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Oh yeah. There's definitely some high strangeness out there, guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Something's going on with missing 411, and a fraction of it has to be cryptids.
Hey, and you guys realize today is 411? It's 4/11/2021.
Wow.
I thought it would have been neat to have a show about the 411 on 4/11.
Hey, we can always have another show 411.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Isn't this stuff just fascinating, guys, to talk about?
Oh, it is. It is. Very much so.
Greatly.
Very much so. This is why we do it. This is why we do it.
Oh yeah. I love it. Ever since I was little, my aunt had Time Life books that had like paranormal and different things, and I would sit and I'd flip through them. I can almost attribute that to her, but my mom used to like the Sky Watch, and we talked about different stuff like that. And I have a really good family that they never really shot you down for talking about stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Back in my day was Unsolved Mysteries and X-Files.
Yep.
oh yeah.
Yep. Same here.
I'm lucky enough I got to see In Search Of. You guys ever seen any of those episodes with Leonard Nimoy?
I've seen a couple.
I'm a little older, I think.
I've seen a couple.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I tell you what. Back then, there wasn't no internet. There was just you were lucky to get channel 2, 4 if you were lucky. 4 back in the day was like HBO. And
Yeah.
It had the good stuff on it. And there was a saying at school that they used to say, and they'd say, and I'm not going to cuss, but they'd say, it's effed up like Channel 4. Because everybody, the monster shows would be on Channel 4, and at home, we'd have to open up the window at night, and somebody would get the pipe wrench out and try to turn the antenna and be like, no, right there. And you're like going fast, and we turned the antenna so much, we wrapped the antenna wire around the thing and ripped it off time or two.
Oh, yeah.
But when In Search Of or something like that would come on back in the day, oh man, it was like HBO or something, man. It was like the aliens had landed and was in your living room.
Yep. You're sure right.
Good times, man.
Is there any
times.
questions from the chat? We're going to open it up and see if y'all have any questions real quick. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. And I know we can go all day with this, but we want to keep it kind of.
This has been awesome, and this is what I like about it. Just people get. We're not, no one's experts. We just get together and talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I got you guys off topic talking about some different things. I know
No, no,
Oh
no.
no, aliens.
Yeah, this is what we're here. This is what we're here to do. I mean, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
And I like that because Marvin got the ball rolling on this, and we're just branching out and just becoming like our own community, man.
Yeah.
And we're accepting of everybody and all all possibilities, and not making fun of anybody, and I just love it, man.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. Totally awesome.
That's why I told Lieutenant, I was like, man, we bring Leon, because Lieutenant was kind of new with Marvin. Um,
Oh yeah.
and some things. Well, it doesn't matter, but we're all like you said, branching out, doing our thing, and just like Lieutenant said, we just do what we do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
just talk about it.
and it's growing. It's growing for us. Like I said, I did a co-host show with B Moss the other day on her channel. And we interviewed Paul Chafin, man. That turned out awesome, man. I got a lot of good information from that. A lot of good information.
Awesome. Hey, I tell you, somebody who's a good resource also is that Alfred Santariga.
Yeah.
That guy,
yeah,
guy's a mentor, man. He's seen some stuff. He's the real deal.
He's a big paranormal and UFO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah. But I mean, he can tell you how to kind of sift through the bull, the baloney and stuff out there.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I like it.
Oh, I do too. He's the one that was telling us about smudging, like the smudging the our equipment and stuff. So,
see, I guys, smudging houses, not devices and stuff. That's different.
Yeah. Well, I heard a guy talking. You guys know who Miles Johnston is? He's over in the UK somewhere, and he's got a show called Bases. I forget what the name of the base is something, but anyway, his name's Miles Johnston. He's got a YouTube channel, but anyway, he was talking about how he'd worked around electronics, for a long time, and he said that there were these, I don't know if they're and like an entity or some type of thing that will attach itself to the electronic equipment, and they're called scutters. I think he called them scutters. And he said that what they remind you of is they look like a shadow figure of a spidery looking thing, and they kind of like shoot across the electronics and stuff. You see glimpses of them every now and then. But he said it's like negative energy that attaches to the the electronics somehow. Well, why not? I mean, everything else can travel down the wires and stuff. Before we go, guys, I wanted to share something with you that I got to thinking about. I heard a story about a guy that was abducted, and he had implants in him, but these doctors that was examining him couldn't find the implants, right? Or the scars. They found the implants, but they couldn't find the scars where they went in, and they were like, well, if it went in, it had to have a scar.
Yeah.
They were thinking it was a wound. They were going to find a scar from a wound. Well, they couldn't find any scar. Well, I got to thinking about it, and whenever I've had like out-of-body experiences, it's like every molecule in your body vibrates at a high frequency. It's almost like you just break out. Your soul comes right out of your body or your spirit or whatever. And I got to thinking, these aliens have a technology. Where they can dematerialize you, suck you on board the ship, rematerialize you, work on you, dematerialize you, and suck you back, or shoot you back to your bed. Well, when that happens, this is just my theory. When that happens, they have a template of what your body looked like before it went. Well, when they rematerialize you, all of the your skin layers and all that stuff rematerializes right back to the way the template was when you came up out of the bed. So when they can go up there and they can manipulate you and do whatever they do to you, they can dematerialize you and shift you right back into your bed and make you rematerialize you. Then your body's going to look just like it did before you left. So that's kind of where I got to thinking that's why they didn't find a scar, because the body went right back the way it was when they took it.
Hey, so Lee Antonio has a question. He wanted me to ask, has Lee heard about a war going on behind our sun?
No, I have not, but I would sure like to hear some more about that, Antonio. That would be interesting. I heard there was entities or whatever that lived in the sun. I don't know how true
Good
that
question.
is.
Yeah, that's a real
I've
good
never heard
question.
that one. Good question.
Yeah, I haven't heard it either. And Antonio's got a lot of good UFO information. He really does.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's the man. Antonio's the man.
Yeah. The Loyal Royal.
Oh yeah. He said on there, Lee, maybe they can clone you as well. Yeah. Hey, we're all partying on Mars, guys. Awesome.
All right, y'all. If there isn't any more questions, we're gonna go ahead and start shutting her down. Lee, I just want to say thank you for coming on short notice.
Yes, thank you, Lee, for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thank you guys for having me. Lieutenant, you called lieutenant because you served in the military?
No, I'm actually a paramedic. I'm a
well, thank you for your service anyway. I was going to tell you, thank you for your service, and all veterans out there in the chat room, thank you for your service.
Appreciate that. And y'all, if I know Lee, Dee had some difficulties and she's not on the show, but man, go check out Lee's page, Recalling the Encounters. It's friggin' awesome.
I appreciate it, guys.
And
Recalling the Encounters with Dee and Lee.
Yeah. And like I said, go check it out. It's very interesting stuff. I mean, it keeps your mind encapsulated the entire time. And
Lee, you don't beat around the bush.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
I appreciate it. If you guys ever need me back on, don't hesitate to call. I'll be there for you guys.
And like I said, Lee, you got my number now. Plug it in your phone. If you ever need me, I'm there, brother. Just give me a holler.
Alrighty.
And
I'd like to have you guys on my show sometime.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
you just say the word, we're there.
Always.
Hey guys, I got to just say this. We got to get Lisa A on the show one night. And see what Lisa A's got to say, because she is awesome.
Oh, I know. I got to work. I got to work on her a little more though.
She's had encounters. Looks like she's shy or something.
Yeah, I got to work on her.
Yeah, everybody has to shed their shy skin sometime.
Absolutely. Hey, I think
Antonio's got some good stuff to share too. I saw his post about his surgery that supposedly happened to him. And
Yeah.
Hey, I'm medical also, Lieutenant. And,
are you?
Yeah, I'm a surgical tech.
Nice.
I got a question, Lieutenant, and Lee, real quick. COVID vaccine, yes or no?
Well, the snipers have a saying in the military: one shot, one kill, and that's as far as I'm going with it.
Well, I can honestly say I went ahead and got mine. Mine was the 2-shot process, and I've been fine ever since. So I mean, I could feel the microchip going in my arm, but
Could you really?
No. No, but I mean, who's to say if it works or not? I don't know. I got mine because I'm around it all day, every day, so I don't want to bring it home. So
right.
that was that's the reason why I bit the bullet.
Have you seen a lot of it, Antonio? Or Lieutenant?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen a lot of it?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. But it's starting to dwindle down though. It's starting to dwindle
down.
Is it really? Yes.
Yeah, you got. Being a paramedic, do you do a lot of runs? Do you run on the helicopter, or you run on the ambulance?
Ambulance. I don't run on the helicopter. If God wanted me be in the air, he'd have made me a bird.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of those paramedics because they come to where I work at.
Yeah.
They talk about the Jesus nut on the top of the helicopter, because if the nut comes off the blades on the top, they say, "Oh Jesus,
yep.
You're going down."
Yep. And it's happened. It's happened.
Yep, it sure does.
It's happened.
That's scared me.
Well, all right, guys.
Awesome. I really appreciate this, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, dude, from Texas, for having me. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Awesome,
Anytime. You're welcome back. Anytime.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Dude
you guys are awesome.
Dude from Texas, man. Thank you for coming on and shedding your shyness. I know you were nervous, but hey, you did great. You did great.
Appreciate it.
Hey, you know what? It's just a conversation, guys.
That's all it is.
It's a conversation. We don't have to be shy about none of it because it happened to us. We've seen it. We experienced it. We know what we saw. There ain't no reason for anybody to tell us we didn't see what we saw. But I sent you the picture.
Yep.
You guys saw it too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
If that's drone technology the military's got, they got some sophisticated stuff that we don't know anything about.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, sir.
Hold on real quick, y'all. I got to do something, and I'm going to do this for Lee because Lisa asked me to do it.
Yeah,
And
Lisa said, don't forget to add the guest names and Lee's YouTube channel link in the description.
sorry, but I type slow, y'all. So I'm fixing to put up the link to Lee's Facebook page, and y'all go like and subscribe. Same thing on Facebook. Also, if y'all want to a shout out to B Moss, especially, man, she's done a lot for us. And check out her page, Crypto Normal Encounters with B Moss. It's excellent.
I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Oh yeah. Check out the last show she did with me and her and Paul Chafin, dude. It's awesome. Yeah.
Kentucky Dogman, and
Kentucky Dogman Project.
They're excellent.
Yeah. Check those guys out too. Check out Marvin. Marvin's taking a little break to recharge the battery, but go ahead and check him out. True Encounters with Marvin Allen and the Doug Pack. And
Marv will be back.
Yeah, he will. And
if you guys need any help at all, guys, don't hesitate to reach out because I'll be there for you. I've been taking a break too on recalling the encounters. That's why I haven't posted anything for a while. After what happened to D, I'm just reorganizing, getting things back together, and I got some ideas on some things I want to put together here. So
absolutely,
that means a lot to come on for what happened. You didn't have to do that, and that means a lot.
Yeah, it does.
No,
really does.
I really appreciate it, guys. Stay safe out there. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you need any help, Lee, you give us a call, okay?
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. All right, guys. That is going to be the end of this live stream. Check out our YouTube channel. Go to our page. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this is Lieutenant, y'all, signing off.